What is up, everybody? It's JT Sports Magic, you guys, with my final NFL draft grades. Doing it for the NFC South, which is the last division that I have to do my grades for. And before I get into it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel because I upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. So the NFC South, I thought as a whole had a pretty interesting draft. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams in this division look like they're going different directions. And I mean, I really like what most of these teams did. Now, starting off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they traded up. Well, basically, they swapped picks with the San Francisco 49ers to select offensive tackle Tristan Riffs. Now, Tristan Riffs is probably the most athletic guard or offensive lineman coming out of this draft class. Now, he can play guard, he can play tackle, either one. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are probably using him as an offensive tackle, and this was an absolutely great pick by the Buccaneers for the fact that you need to protect Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady is still a good quarterback in my opinion, but he does need a good offensive line protecting him because he's really old. So I mean, I don't think his body is really equipped to be handling getting sacked 48 times a game like what Tampa Bay allowed Jameis Winston to get sacked. So I think it's really good that Tampa Bay went ahead and addressed the offensive line concern in the first round. A very good I got a very good feeling that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line not only is going to be able to protect Tom Brady, but they're also going to be a lot better when it comes to run blocking as well with Tristan Ruffs on the offensive line there. Then they also selected Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety out of Minnesota. I felt he was the best safety in his draft class. He should have won the first round, but the only reason he didn't go in the first round was simply for the fact that his height. I think he's like 5'9" or 5'10", somewhere around that range. And apparently that's like a big deal to NFL teams. Despite him being a ball hawk, he can do a lot of things. He's also a more than solid tackler as well. And when you go back and watch the Minnesota games, I mean, you couldn't watch Minnesota Gophers football without seeing Antoine Winfield somehow, some way, finding a way to make a play. It seems like he's always near the ball. Even if he's not making a play on the ball, he's always near the proximity. He has good awareness, high IQ. He understands what's happening during the field. He understands what's happening in front of him. And I mean, this dude, in my opinion, was the best safety in this draft class. I found it absolutely outrageous that he didn't go in the first round. Then in the third round, 76 overall, they selected Keyshawn Vaughn, halfback out of Vanderbilt University. He was one of the better halfbacks in the SEC, but nobody really talked about him because he played for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt isn't really that good. Then they probably got one of the biggest steals in the draft. They selected Tyler Johnson, another Minnesota Gophers player, in the fifth round of the draft. He's immediately going to start right away at that third wide receiver spot. He's going to end up filling in the role of Rashard Perriman. Now it's going to be interesting. He can play outside, he can play slot as well. Now it's going to be interesting. Is he going to move the slot and is Chris Godwin going to play outside, or is Chris Godwin going to play slot and Tyler Johnson going to be on the outside? That's the question. Now, Tyler Johnson isn't the most explosive. That's what a lot of people say in the scouting report, but I mean, he has pretty good size, he has strong hands, and I feel like he runs really good routes. So, I mean, if he lines up in the slot with Tom Brady, and we know how much Tom Brady loves to target his five, he loves to target those slot wide receivers and steal yards underneath. Tyler Johnson could end up having a big rookie season if he ends up starting at that slot receiver spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then you also select a couple of other guys as well. You get Khalil Davis, tackle out of Nebraska. You also get Chappelle Russell, linebacker out of Temple, who is a really good coverage linebacker as well. Then you also picked up another halfback out of the University of Louisiana, Monroe. So I'm giving the Tampa Bay Buccaneers an A plus. I thought they had a nice draft. I thought they had one of the best drafts in the whole entire NFL draft. Now, moving on to the Carolina Panthers, they went defense. That's all they did. They just went straight defense. And we've seen teams take this approach in the draft before. We saw Tampa Bay do something similar last year. I mean, basically all of their entire draft picks were basically on the defense side of football. And I really like what the Carolina Panthers did because the offense isn't that big of a problem. I mean, in the offense, you got quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, you got receivers, you got Curtis Samuel, you got DJ Moore, you got Robbie Anderson. So, I mean, they have a really solid offense. Now, the biggest concern was the defense, especially with the departure of several key guys. Like they got rid of James Bradbury. He walked away in free agency. Then they also had Luke Kuechly retire. So I mean those were two devastating blows. So I mean they desperately needed to find some guys to fill in some of those spots, and I thought that they did that. I mean first you Get Derek Brown, defensive tackle out of Auburn, who I feel is the best interior defensive lineman prospect since Dominican Sue back when he was coming out of Nebraska. And when you go back and watch the film on Derek Brown, I said it again, go back and watch that Minnesota game when they was playing in that bowl game. This dude had to be quadruple team because Minnesota was not able to double team it. They wasn't able to triple team it. They was trying to do everything, and it wasn't working. This dude is an absolute force, and I felt like the Carolina Panthers made a great decision taking him with their seventh overall selection, working on cementing their defensive line because it all starts up front, all starts in the trenches. Then they also get another guy to pair up on that defensive line alongside of Derek Brown. You get a two Gross Matus, the edge rusher out of Penn State University. He was one of the better edge rushers in this draft class. And for some time, like it was like nobody really knew if he was going to go late first or if he was going to go early second. But we ended up getting the answer to that question. He ended up going early second, 38th overall. And I mean, this dude is a really great edge rusher. I thought he would be a very good fit with the Carolina Panthers. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up making an impact right away this upcoming season on that Carolina Panthers defense. I think he could end up having somewhere around 5, maybe 6 sacks. Then you also get Jeremy Chin, the safety out of Southern Illinois University. Solid pick there. They also picked up Torrey Pride, cornerback out of Notre Dame University. Now, Torrey Pride was, I think Torrey Pride is one of the biggest boom or bust prospects coming out of this draft class because look, he has some solid games during his time playing for the University of Notre Dame, specifically in that semifinal matchup a couple of years back when they was matched up against Clemson. He pretty much handled his own. And then this past season wasn't really his best. I mean, he had some good games, but sometimes he seemed to have like a lapse in concentrations when he just allowed easy touchdowns over the top. So I mean, I think he's pretty much the biggest boomer bust prospect coming out of this draft. Then you get Kenny Robertson, the safety, who played for West Virginia, but he ended up playing last season in the XFL, which he had a pretty good XFL run. Now, I think Kenny Robinson is going to might end up being a starter right away because he has experience. Unlike most rookies, he isn't your typical rookie. Most rookies don't really have professional football experience, but Kenny Robinson played in the XFL. He played against grown men. He played against guys that have similar backgrounds like his, guys who are fresh out of college. He also played against guys who've been in the NFL for like 7, 8 years. So I mean, Kenny Robinson has a lot of experience. Well, has a lot more experience than you would expect out of a rookie safety. So I expect him to end up being a starter right away for the Carolina Panthers and that secondary at one of those safety spots. So the grade I'm giving the Carolina Panthers, I'm giving them an A. I felt they had a nice solid draft. I like the fact that they went all defense because really that's the biggest question. I think the offense is going to be able to hold its own, but I think the defense is a little bit more bigger of a question than the offense for the fact that they lost like two big players. I mean, you lost James Bradbury in free agency, and you also lost Luke Kuechly, who was one of the best linebackers to ever play the game. Now moving on to the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Atlanta Falcons, they selected AJ Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. I felt that was a reach. I didn't really like that pick. If you go back and watch my first round grades from the first picks of the first round of the draft, I gave them a C because I didn't really like the pick. I understand he was a hometown kid and things like that, but I felt that David Arnett and Christian Fulton were better than AJ Terrell. But I guess he fits the system. He's a solid press cornerback, so I'm not going to penalize them too much because they did fill a need. Then they go in the second round. You select edge rusher Marlon Davidson out of the University of Auburn. Derek Brown got all the attention when he was playing for Auburn, but I mean, you also can't talk about how good that Auburn defensive line was without mentioning how productive Marlon Davidson was. Then you also get Matt Hennessy, the center out of Temple. It's going to be remain to be seen if he's going to end up moving to a tackle or offensive guard because he is a little bit undersized, so he's probably going to have to gain some weight. Also got Markel Walker out of Fresno State, Jalen Hawkins, the safety out of Cal, and you got Sterling Hoffreiter, the punter out of Syracuse University. So the grade I gave the Atlanta Falcons, I gave them a B. A lot of people gave them a lot worse a grade than what I gave them, but I think their draft was okay. I mean, their first two picks were pretty good, even though I think AJ Terrell is a little bit of a reach, but you can make the argument that he fits the system. And Marlon Davidson is a good fit as well. So I think a B is an okay grade for the Falcons. Now the last thing we have the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints in the first round surprised a lot of people. A lot of people felt they was either going to go linebacker or receiver or potentially draft Jordan Love. Now they ended up taking Cesar Ruiz, the center out of the University of Michigan. He's probably going to end up playing guard. And for the New Orleans Saints, it just gives you the mentality that they feel like they can win now. They're not really looking forward to building towards the future. They're just going day by day and trying to win now. So I think Cesar Ruiz was one of the best interior offensive linemen in this draft class. Then in the third round, you get Zach Vaughn, which fills the need of linebacker. Then you also get Adam Trottom, the tight end out of Dane University, which is really good because we don't know what's going to happen with Jared Cook, so they can run a lot more two tight end sets. Then you get Tommy T. Stevenson's in the seventh round, last round of the draft, which I think is more of just a camp body. So the grade I gave the New Orleans Saints, I gave them a B plus. I thought the first three picks were really good. And also Tommy Stevenson's is an okay pickup if they just need a camp body or they just want like a fourth string quarterback. So this is it for my NFC 2020 NFL draft grades. Let me know what you guys think about them down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.